Hi guys, thanks for tuning into another episode of Nuggets News. We are back with Jamie McIntyre from Australian National Review, and today we're going to be talking about why he's building a city from scratch over in Indonesia and some of the projects he's already completed in Bali and Seminyak, and why this new project is on Lombok, an island adjacent to Bali. And Jamie, why don't you tell us? A lot of people have followed your work and know that, we're on the same level, and a lot of Aussies are about corruption and the way this country's heading, and more people are sort of choosing these other places, at least for a holiday vacation, to get away. But yeah, how'd you get into the real estate side of things?
Yeah, I think it's really like a lot of people. What is starting to happen now is that a lot of people wanting to relocate out of the West, not just Australia. Canada's facing the same things. There's a max exodus there. Europe, and you'll see in America as well. And what's driving this exodus of not just capital? We say like people really should consider relocating themselves, all their money out of the West, at least some of their money. Because the Western banking system's, effectively on the verge of collapse. That whole system is, as we've highlighted for years, the Federal Reserve central banking scam is certainly not federal. The Reserve, and there is no reserves, is counterfeit money by a banking cartel, which effectively has been able to buy up our Western countries, our media, our governments, and they have an agenda, which is, we know, you'll own nothing but be happy. With some of us that disagree with that, going that if we own nothing, we may not be happy. We realizing the West, the globalists, etc., have a set agenda, the 2030 agenda. A lot of us have now seen that what was once a conspiracy theory being enacted quite rapidly. We only have to look at digital ID in the UK. We know it's coming for Australia. The Reserve Bank of Australia is one of the leaders in the expirable programmable digital currency. And they're basically that's why they're withdrawing cash, removing cash. So you can't take cash out of your bank. Because the banks don't have cash, they can easily stop a bank run. They can't be a bank run. But what they'll do is go, when there is effectively a banking crash, sometime in the future, they'll simply swap it with digital currency that's programmable. Now you're a slave. They completely own you. So people that are awake to that, and obviously your followers are starting to go, outside of that, can I afford to stay living in Australia? The cost of housing, it's great if you already own property, you're doing well, it's going up in value. But even then, property taxes are going to increase. They're going to slowly remove property ownership. They can't just go, oh, let's go full communism and remove private ownership. They want to do that, but globalism is slow creeping communism. So they're going to do that by rampantly increasing the property taxes. You see in Victoria leading the way there. Gold Coast now has a view tax. If you're 5 stories or above, you're paying for a view tax, 40% increase on your rates. Now they want to tax an empty bedroom. That's, I think, Albanese's greatest idea. So, this is how they're going to remove private ownership, because a lot of elderly people that might not have cash flow, they're going to have to sell their property. Or you see in the UK, the inheritance tax on farmers, so the younger generation can't afford to even buy the family farm. These are all ways they can remove private ownership without introducing communism up front, where we'd revolt in the streets, but they can do it slowly. So people are awake to this, or just going, you know what? There's a better quality of life in emerging markets too. So these trends are driving something. So I left Australia 3 years ago. I love Australia. I'm a patriot. I spent over a decade of my life trying to create a political revolution. I was one of the first to launch independent media with Australian National Review. Some of the people find out are not aware of that, and trying to really make a difference and highlight the truth of what's really going on. I was cancelled heavily for that, shut down companies targeted by government agencies, and it cost me literally hundreds of millions of dollars. So I've seen firsthand what will happen if we speak up, but I also realize that if we don't speak up, and enough of us don't, well, this agenda will succeed. Regardless of that, I think, Alex, what I realized, I was in Washington in February reporting live for Australian National Review at CPAC, the biggest political action conference for the conservative side of politics. Obviously Trump, Elon Musk, Milei, the Argentinian president, Nigel Farage, all of them were there. But that's when I realized that, hang on, this political revolution, when many of us supported Trump to create that drain the swamp, I had to accept and had to go back and tell my followers and Australian National Review readers, guys, this is not going to happen. The Trump administration is completely infiltrated with the Zionist movement, and they want to drain the swamp of left faction Zionists, but they replace it with themselves. And either way, those paths lead to a one world government. And as a result of that, we're not going to get, if we support that, we won't get a multipolar world. Where I said I would rather be part of the BRICS, I think Australia should be part of the BRICS. So what it meant by that is that Indonesia is part of the BRICS. So I chose to move to Bali 3 years ago, one of the best decisions I made in my life. And that's after exhaustively looking at, Mexico, Thailand, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Portugal, Lisbon, Spain, a lot of other countries, Malaysia. I chose Bali for Australians. That's an easy choice. We've been there. We're comfortable with it. But also predictor of trends, as I said, I predicted the rise of Bitcoin. My followers bought in at 75 US because I saw that as a future financial revolution. I predicted the bottom of the US property market. I told buyers since $200 an ounce to buy gold over the last few decades. So we've always been pretty accurate with predicting the future. And that's probably because we make the effort to understand geopolitics, because geopolitics will help you determine pretty predictably what's going to happen. And the West is coming for a crash. You see it in action. But emerging markets like Indonesia have brilliant property markets that I said 3 years ago. Start buying Bali and Indonesian property in these sort of countries because people are going to flee the West. And Bali, as you know, Alex, has turned into a global refugee camp since COVID. Once the lockdowns were removed, I'm out of here. I don't trust Australian system anymore. Plus, I just want a better quality of life. And over in emerging markets, we can 10x, 100x what we can do. Like, as an example, the rent you might get in Australia on property, you might be getting 3, 4, 5% net rental yields. You can 10x that, say, in Bali, in Lombok, in Indonesia. So that's one reason why you would look at overseas property. But I think because the Australian property market's so high, we can take some of that equity out or some of that money out and arbitrage into a low-cost property market and generate the cash flow. That way we can diversify out of the Australian property market, which has been so good to us for decades. We've done very well. We're super happy with that. But why risk it? Why leave all our money in the West when we leave it another year or two and the Iron Curtain comes down as far as the financial Iron Curtain? You try and get money out now. You leave it much longer and you'll find that you'll be like, sorry, you can leave Australia, but your money's not leaving. You can't take it out. Yep. They're already using under the guise of consumer protection and scams that to stop you taking your money out of the country of any significant size. Try and get $250,000 out and do an internet transfer out of Australian bank. You'll be called into the bank investigators. You'll be harassed. I'll probably even freeze your account for months and not let you. That's the standard thing that's happening now. So we leave it much longer. So that's why I really started looking at Bali. We developed 3 projects in Bali, which are almost all finished. I'm obviously finished 15 villas out of 100 we're finishing in Seminyak. We've got a 60 apartment, 3-level hotel almost finished, and we're building a wellness resort up in Tavernan. But their projects are coming to an end. They pretty much all sold out rapidly. And we effectively built a village in Seminyak, a suburb. And then we realized, well, the demand is there. We need to build cities because we sold out a village in no time. And that it was in about a year ago, I discovered this beautiful land in Lombok. You will see some of the images soon. Absolutely stunning. And wow, you can build a mini city here, a city eco city that's in tune with nature and, on a beautiful white sandy beach, which you can't really do in Bali. Bali's getting a little bit overcrowded. So that's what really started that. But I realized the trend was coming. We're going to need these cities built for fleeing Westerners to live part-time or full-time, plus the amount of people that want to holiday in these destinations. So that's what we started doing. With our scent of marketing, we sold over 250 villas. And we haven't really started yet. We are just offering it to our predominantly our investor type clients, which can come in wholesale pricing. We do that for our investors because I've had obviously investor clients who made over $10 billion from following what I do over the last 25 years. Not to impress anyone, but to impress upon people that if you know geopolitics, if you follow and understand predictable trends, like it's pretty clear the Australian property market's pretty goddamn high. Indonesian markets well below that, you could profit. But if you leave it too late, even Indonesia could go, guys, in a year or 2 or 3 years, might go, look, we love foreigners coming here, we love the capital, but we just can't fit any more people in. And sorry, you can't come anymore. So I don't think people should leave it too late. I think, Alex, we should be seriously right now thinking about getting some of our assets out of banks in Australia for your own protection. And Indonesian property is looking pretty good.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I know you've got this presentation lined up for us, Jamie, to kind of show people maybe the different villas, apartments, and things that are on offer. And I know people at home, you're probably familiar with all the questions you get all the time, but people want to know kind of what's the rough time frame if they do get involved. And we're going to put the links down below to how you can inquire more and find out more info and all that stuff. But I think it's a fantastic idea. And it's going to attract like-minded people. Which just isn't happening in Australia with that loss of community and everything, which is what I love about these types of projects.
Yeah, definitely. So let's have a look at some of the imagery. If we can bring this up on the screen. Fantastic. So what the first city we're building, Alex, is Marina Bay City. This is only 100 kilometers from Seminyak in Bali, the main area people know in Bali. We're putting fast ocean-going ferry service in. You can fly to Lombok. There's an international airport. Lombok, direct flights will soon restart. They used to go from COVID, from Australia before COVID. But you can already fly direct to Lombok from Singapore, China, Dubai, these countries. And because Lombok is now taking off and booming, because Bali is becoming overcrowded, the international airport will expand and handle a lot of traffic. So it's 45 minutes from the international airport, 20-minute flight from Bali. Marina Bay City, and so it's very close, but we're putting a fast ferry service in as well, which will only take 90 minutes. So basically day trippers will be able to come. You can go by fast boat now to Gili Islands and North Lombok and then drive a couple hours down, but that will change next year with the ferry service. So we typically build villas predominantly. Why? Because villas are great for holiday rental returns, so 15, 20, 25% rental returns are possible. What we do for all our investor clients is that it's fully turnkey. So Alex, they come fully furnished, and we have our own management company. Lux is the brand that we are, Lux Management. They'll look after the properties. Obviously, my expertise is also on Airbnb real estate for over a decade. So we're able to get high rental returns because we create a good product that's Instagrammable, wow factor that people go, wow, I want to stay in that. They'll pay premium rates. All beautiful houses as well if you want to live in it. So, Alex, in the last 6 months, ever since I think Albanese was re-elected in Australia, the amount of inquiries of people seriously thinking about leaving Australia, wanting a plan B, and Bali is the obvious place, Lombok, is rising rapidly. And I see that trend become a tidal wave over the next year or two. That's why we're very focused on getting this city built. Build it, they will come is certainly a classic case. And they're already coming at a rapid rate. It's also going to be a very affordable city. Indonesia forecast to be top 4 economy in the world by 2050. I mean, we're talking an economic powerhouse, an amazing country I'm very bullish on. But Lombok and Bali rate the top 2 islands already in Asia for obvious reasons. And Lombok, really could have stole Bali's lunch 30 years ago, but Bali got their leasehold and property rights sorted faster. That's why Bali exploded. Now Lombok has the better system now. It's predominantly freehold. We'll talk about that. Where Bali, we predominantly do leasehold. So I think that's making it more attractive for our clients because it's way more affordable. As far as this is one of the towers, now it's a little bit controversial. Some people don't like high rises, but Australians, a lot of them do. We also have to build the city not just for expat Australians or Westerners. Obviously, working with the Indonesian government, they want us to make sure the city also is built for Indonesians as well. Indonesians love high rises, Jakarta. But also remember, we're building a city to compete against Singapore, Dubai, Miami, Perth, Sydney. These cities that are in proximity, or a lot of Asian cities, KL, etc., particularly Sydney, Singapore, Dubai, Perth, very expensive cities. So we're building this to be always affordable. So people can move here, live in a beautiful high-rise or villa on the beach, but for nothing. And what some of these, Alex, some of these apartments can go for like 89,000 Australian dollars. The cheapest villa we'll show you tonight is like 99,000. You can get a 3-bedroom home brand new, 199,000. So, I mean, like in Australia, in Sydney, you can't even buy a garage for under $1 million. I mean, you can't do anything. It's just absurd. Yeah. But we can still deliver a luxury 3-bedroom home for people for under 200,000. Yeah. So we've got to keep it affordable. This is the beach that it's on, absolutely stunning. I mean, when you go there, we do tours every month, but people can come every week, go to the site. Construction's already underway. The city's happening, but absolutely stunning, coastal line, etc. I mean, it's a perfect place for a city, perfect location, great weather, plenty of water, safe from tsunamis. Tsunamis hit on the north side. This is the south side, protected reef as well. It is not developed yet. This is as far as other than what we're doing, and we have a harbour there in the background. We're 25 minutes away from the closest resort, so there's no development reached this entire bay yet. We are the first, and we have brought up most of it. So we can. Some people say, we're building the first properly planned city in Indonesia. So some critics are like, we're going to destroy nature. No, people are coming because of the nature. It's an eco city. It's a freedom city. It's the opposite to a resilient dystopian city they want to build in the West, or you see what they're doing in Melbourne, etc. Track and trace. It's complete opposite of that. It's a freedom city for people that are awake. It's the community that we're all part of. That people like they're the people that are becoming a part of this because they want the opposite to what we're setting. So we're trying to change the world one city at a time by going, let's build the blueprint for an ideal city that's self-sufficient, has its own food, own water, its own community, has a set of values we all agree to. We believe in freedom. We don't believe in track and trace and enslavement, etc. And Indonesia has 17,000 islands, so plenty of beautiful places to hide out if the world does get a little bit crazy. But you can see this land. It's absolutely stunning. Sunsets. Harbour at the background where a super yacht marina is going in, a smaller marina is going in at the front. We're adding, as you know, Dave Negs is one of my good mates, surfer. We're also submitting approvals right now to put a artificial wave break in that photo there where you can see, so people can surf. Great waves now, but for surfers will be able to then surf this beach as well. Otherwise, you can go to surfing beaches not far away. Alex, all your followers, if they mention you, they get lombokfreereport.com and they can start their education process of everything. But we do give away $500 accommodation voucher. They can come to the city and stay in the villas from January next year when they open, or stay in our villas in Semiak and check them out, the same villas we built in Bali. And also there's a $5,000 deposit grant they can use towards their first purchase if it's something they want to be a part of, just for an investment. Or if they go, shit, I'd like a plan B as a backup home to go live in part of the year or all year. So Lombok Free Report, obviously you'll put other links there at the end for people, but mention Nugget News or Alex, and they'll know where you're from and make sure you get this. Let's show a little bit of some of the other villas. This is planned for the town centre. So we're sort of taking a few things from James Street, Brisbane, Miami, a few different best of cities around the world to create a really cool city, a city you can walk around, ride around on bikes. Indonesia's not super, you don't need a car. I don't even own a car over here. I have my bike. But this city, you will be able to use cars. We'll have proper traffic, no congestion like Bali. The first properly planned city for Indonesia. So we put a lot of effort into this. The designers have come up with something that I'm really happy with. I think, different little sub-communities that people are like. But this is the plan. It's already under construction. How long will it take? Well, you could pretty much, the villas you're buying now, you can expect they'll be completed within 12 months. That's pretty much, you could aim for that. We would expect, there's about 55 more workers arriving today to the site. This will gear up to probably 400 or 500 workers over the next 90 days. They're pretty efficient at the speed they can build at. We're building villas now in 120 days. Some of the latest villas with our new team, new methodology, they can literally build in 120 days. So we don't promise that though, because it might, when we're releasing new lots, it might take 3 or 4 months before they start building. But if it's in a lot where they're already started building, you can get a villa done well before 12 months. But let's just say 12 months. Yeah. Now it's fully managed, turnkey, money gets paid to your bank account. Visas, we can help with. Company structures, if you want set up over here. We've got the whole turnkey. They'll help with all that. So it's pretty simple. It's easier, Alex, to buy property in Indonesia than it is in Australia because there's no banks involved. I don't believe banks should exist. I think banks are unnecessary evil. Interest should be banned. So if people don't have all the funding, Alex, we can provide 60% funding into any of our villas or homes or studios. or high rises, 60%. All you need is a good character reference. If they say Alex, Nugget News, we'll go, yep, you can vouch for you. Good character reference, you get 60%, zero interest, zero repayments. There is no need to charge interest for banks should be banned. So we're making sure that so we don't have banks involved. Zero interest. So you can do that 60% funding to anyone who has a good character reference, and we'll do that.
And there is a way for people to pay with Bitcoin or stable coins and that as well, which was cool to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of crypto type people involved. Obviously, I was big on crypto, still am. And a lot of clients will do that. A lot of clients, and we can't give advice around super, but a lot of Australian clients have also used their super funds to buy a lot of property over here. So they can't do that. Of course, they just have to get their own advice on that. Crypto definitely. It's gold, silver. We've done some property swaps, even whatever people want. But just the affordability. I mean, wait till you see some of these houses. They're super. Like Bali now can produce, like where I'm staying right now, I'm just in Canggu actually for a few days. I'm staying in an absolute mansion that if this was built in Sydney would be like a $10 million mansion for like $1 million, $1.5 million. I mean, it's crazy the price difference. This is some of the first restaurants being built. We are opening, we planned in February to open the first restaurant, beach club, water sports, and the first villas in February. So you'll be able to come there and enjoy the facilities as the city rolls out. So that's how fast it's happening. We've got support of obviously Lombok Ministry, the Indonesian government's pretty big news, and a lot of Indonesian news. South China Daily just wrote an article on it, and it was good that they were very neutral and they went and spoke to the local villages and all the local villages. Yeah, we want this really to happen. In the past, it's been talk of development, it's never happened, but these guys are actually started. It's actually happening. So they're super excited about Marina Bay City. So it was important to get all three levels of government on board, the local government, like the local villages, the Lombok Ministry. I met the ministers some time ago, and then the Indonesian government as well. So they're all very supportive of this, and we appreciate that. And we're building something really, we have to employ 60% of local staff, etc. But the people, the local landowners that sold the land to us, they become instant millionaires. You can't do that in Australia. You can't go from nothing to hero multi-millionaire instantly. But in emerging countries like this, that's what's happening. So the locals benefit the most, okay? Which is important, giving back to the community. So this is the standard of what we're building. This is one of the first beach clubs right on the beach. We're building a convention center. We'll start next year, because the easy way to fill up a city is, conventions, conferences, etc. But we want all these facilities to really put Lombok on the map. There's plans for a sports stadium in about 12 months to start. We want to host, Alex, I know you're from Tasmania, but I'm an NRL fan. We want to host NRL matches, but possibly even AFL matches like once a year. A lot of Aussies, as you know, in Indonesia and Bali Lombok. So I think that would be great in a couple of years to have that sort of thing in Marina Bay City. But bringing in events, fintech, tech hub. Only 3 days ago, Alex, the president of Indonesia, announced he wants to make Bali a financial center on par with Dubai and Singapore. And we're working with that. And they're going to create an economic tax zone to attract that, which is really good news. Bali needs that. And this is our idea we've had for Marina Bay City. So we'll be able to, we're working on that now as far as even better tax rates, economic zones, etc. But fintech, tech hubs, hedge funds are basing themselves out of there. So a lot of people don't have to just focus, Alex, on the money they can make from their rental properties and live off that. The opportunity to start businesses. Most people that come to Bali and Indonesia, a lot of Australians, they do very well in business, because your Western IP in Australia is not worth so much because 27 other million people have it. But your average middle-class Western IP in Australia, put it into a third world country like Indonesia, you can start businesses because you have the knowledge how it's done in Australia and do extremely well. So when people are thinking about, you'll 10x your income, I think, if you're smart enough and savvy enough, if you were to live over here. You're selling yourself short if you live in Australia. That's what I'd say. If I stayed in Australia, I'd be earning 10% of what I'm earning now in Indonesia. A 10x everything. You can achieve 10 times the result in property, 10 times quicker. Things just happen faster. Humans need progress, And in Indonesia, progress happens. In Australia, you've got millions of bureaucrats and red tape trying to stop you doing anything. And it's just a farce. So all this is happening with medical centre will open, water sports, water parks, you name it, we're making it happen. So this is the layout of the city right now. This is the existing master plan. LombokFreeReport.com. You can get all this information. So I'll skip through some of it so we can get to show you some of the villas. These are 3 new releases of 3 new sites. We released 2 sites 3 or 4 months ago. One of those sites is sold out. So we just released 3 new sites. Our investor clients are trained to know when we release new estates, that's the best time to buy because it's a rock bottom wholesale pricing. So people that can act pretty quickly, they get wholesale pricing, 30 to 40% off. Give you an example. So some villas, $200,000 villa, when it's completed, we sold for $119,000 a year ago in Bali. And they're now worth $200,000. So our wholesale buyers get to make the uplift of, they're making 80% capital gain. So that's why you want to buy wholesale. But not everyone's a wholesale investor. Some people are more retail. Go, look, I need 6 months to get organized, really think about it, do all my research. That you can do that, but you're going to be a retail buyer. You'll be buying at retail price. Our wholesale prices rise 5% a month up to the retail price when they're completed. If they're not sold by the time they're completed, they're sold at retail. So if you're savvy and can act quickly, you'll get 30, 40% off the pricing, which is all your profit. This is the harbour. This is the ocean view from Hillside Estate. So you want to be on a hill overlooking the ocean. That's the city there in front of us being built. That's the villages there, but in front of that where the ocean is, where the construction's already started. Stunning views, all sorts of style homes that can go up in here. This is one of the other new releases right down on the river near the lake next to the resort. I'll skip through this because I want to show you some of the actual villas you can buy, all our new releases. Oceanside, so we just sold out down further. You can see the beach in the background there. That site's pretty much sold out, beachfront, but now this new site, Oceanside Estates, just launched right there next to the beach. Stunning views. So this is one people obviously after because it's right on the beach. That's the sort of views you get. Stunning water. So this is, let's look at some of these new villas.
And just to be clear, Jamie, people can kind of choose what style they want, in what lot they want and stuff as it's being built out and that type of thing. There's that kind of process.
Yeah, so each estate will have a different brand, different type of villas. We've just released like 8 new villas. Normally we'd only release 1 new villa every few months, but we've done 3 big releases. And now we've got a lot of land that we can release. So yeah, you select the different villas and you see what estate you can have them built in. We're fairly flexible. We're not so rigid. We can swap and change the plans a little bit to build what people predominantly want. We do guesstimates of what ones we think are most popular based on past sales, but we can adjust maps slightly to put in whatever villa people want out of the different designs. Cool. We're trying to build things that are affordable that people will pay good money for Airbnb. So you can use it when you want it. When it's not there, you can put it on the rental market. You can block it off as much as you want. You don't have to keep it in the pool. It's your villa, do what you want. The way that we sell also is leasehold. These prices will go through a leasehold, but in Lombok, it's much easier to do freehold. So just 20% extra and you can get freehold. So most people will pay that extra 20%. On a $200,000 villa, extra 20% extra, $40,000, but they get freehold. So most people prefer that, but that's the options.
Do you want to just explain for people at home that aren't familiar with leasehold versus freehold?
Yeah, so in Australia you have freehold, but that freehold in Australia is pretend freehold. How many months do you get if you don't pay the mortgage to the bank? So the bank has your freehold, you don't. When you finish paying off the bank mortgage, if you haven't got a new mortgage by then you have to pay. You have to continue to pay your rates. If you don't pay your rates, you'll lose the property as well. So it's really not freehold in Australia. It's a globalist banker's trick. But in leasehold, typically you just 20-year lease as an example, and then you just extend that lease for way less than what you pay yearly in rates in Australia.
Yeah.
So it's actually better. Leasehold is actually better, I think, than what you have in Australia in freehold because it's cheaper. You got to go in Bali, you go, well, because freehold's expensive in Bali, you can have 5 villas for the cost of 1. one freehold. So you go, well, I'd rather 5 leasehold villas than 1 freehold. I make 5 times the money. But Lombok is good because Lombok freehold is not that expensive. It's 20% more. So in Lombok, you should take freehold.
Yeah, as you say, I just think it's impossible to forecast what's going to be happening in Australia 20 years from now in terms of taxing and making it hard to own assets. So when you hear that argument, it's 20 years lease and this freehold and stuff, I just think that Australia's going to look very different in 20 years' time. It's going to be very hard to own anything.
Yeah, and people worry about leasehold. I mean, obviously take freehold in Lombok if you want. So, but leasehold even in Bali, it's highly liquid market. It's way easier to buy. It's way more affordable. And it's control. You just extend your lease. Like my leasehold home I live in Seminyak, last year I extended it 5 more years. So I bought it a 25-year lease and I added another, add another 5 years. And in 3 or 4 more years, I'll add another 5 years. But it cost me, and that's a mansion, it cost me only 10 grand a year to extend, for a mansion. So typical properties to extend might be a couple of grand a year. You pay more than that in rates on your pretend freehold in Australia. So yeah. You don't have freehold in Australia. You have rates going up through the roof. That's after you finish paying off the bank. So but Lombok is good because you can get what is freehold via holding company can hold it. You can't own freehold in your own name, but companies can. People argue you can't do freehold in Indonesia, but people are doing it. It's definitely Lombok is more attractive for that reason, and we find Lombok is outselling Bali 5 to 1. So because white sand beaches help as well. This is one of our latest villas. This is a small one for getting good returns. This is a cheapest one of the cheapest, 119,000. So something small that people want to get. Once again, it's a wow factor. Airbnb do very well on Airbnb. This is a new style up on the hillside, in the forest, etc. But once again, these would Airbnb very well. One better's 139,000. This one's quite popular. This is a brand new one. Rooftop. You can also have this as a 2-better, but it's a 1-better. I think this is about 159,000. But once again, they'll Airbnb very well. Also good up on the hill, all close to the beach. And we can, 159,000. So these can generate very good rental yields. It's crazy the Airbnb prices people pay. This is a very popular one, the Nova. This can also be done as a 2-better or 1-better, but these are like great views. These are available in all 3 estates, so pretty much anywhere you can get these.
Awesome, yeah.
So very modern, fully fitted out. So it's impressive the quality of homes you can now get in Indonesia. It's on par, if not better, than some of the stuff in Australia. They're very good with designs, etc. But I mean, very comfortable. You could live in this. As I said, can come as a 2-better as well.
I think people in Australia forget what's possible when you don't have a dozen layers of red tape sometimes.
Oh yeah, the speed you can do things. You can manifest here. Like I can action. I can build a city. In a record time. I was invited to speak to Parliament like 10 years ago to share my vision for Australia 2050. And one of my vision of that, it's actually on YouTube. It's a presentation. I presented. We need a new big city in Dubai type Singapore city in Western Australia because it's only Perth. And I was going to build it in Port Headlands so all the mining region didn't have to be fly out. They could live there. So it's ironic, but that was going to take so long, so difficult, red tape. I'd still be trying to make that happen. Ironically, an hour flight away in Lombok, a much nicer place, beautiful beaches, now that a better city is being built. So it's funny how life turns out, but it's just we're very lucky we live so close to Indonesia and it's such a beautiful country, beautiful people. Ironically, a Muslim nation is way safer to be in the way the world's going. They respect Christians. They treat us very well. And their traditional values that we used to have in the West. That's what I love. What we used to have in the West is what Indonesia has. So the family values and good-hearted people. So let's skip through a few more. That's only 159,000. I mean, you just don't get anything in Australia. Like it's just my friend is building granny flats, making a killing in Queensland, 250,000 for a granny flat. He's selling them all day long. Here you can have a home. This is a brand new one, Luna, something different style. People love, once again, modern, sharp. These will Airbnb very well. These are on most of the sites. I think this is only 169,000. Yep. So quite affordable, very good rental returns. So 169 is the wholesale price. These are worth about 250 when finished. So you're saving money wholesale. That's for people who can make decisions pretty quickly, suss it all out, comfortable doing things. If people need 3, 6, 12 months to get their finances sorted, obviously they'll pay more for them because the prices rise 5% a month until they complete it. If you want to do finance, 40% deposit, but you will pay. That's based on the retail price. So the best way is wholesale. If you've got the money, 100% upfront, get wholesale. 3-bedroom version of these just come out brand new once again. So this is a nice home. Stunning homes. Like, look at it, quality.
Love it, yeah.
So you can easily live in this. What are we talking? 299,000. 3-bedroom stunning home. All 177,000, 40% deposit. This is a good one for up in the hillside, chalet, brand new style, 1-bedroom. 169,000. Glass. This is surprising because I don't know which one's going to be popular. I can only guess. We released this. This has become super popular. And why would be the price point? Because we've launched them at very special prices. This is only 199,000 for 3-bedder. So this is well under market value. So something like this will rent very well, but also live in. Especially up on the hill. These are going very well up on the hill. You'll pay a premium on the hillside, but stunning views, or even a flat area. And you get this in a 4-bedroom version for an extra 100,000. Stunning, beautiful homes. Another new one. We'll skip through this one. See what else we have here. They're $299. Now, if you want a mansion, this is one I'm building for myself. Bolano. This is a $1.2 million mansion, but even in Hobart, 1.2 won't get you much. This will get you an absolute mansion. Like, we're talking stunning homes. And we've had the experience, and now we've got such good builders. One of the construction companies is the largest Indonesian builder, publicly listed company that's building our hotels and our towers, earthquake technology. They build high rises in Jakarta, and other builders that we have. So we have really good builders now. So we're very happy with that. But this is a nice life. Like, you're a 20-minute flight from Bali, or direct flight soon from Australia. You can fly in. I live half the time in Australia, half the time here if you want.
Yeah, amazing.
Just stunning. So the quality is there of what you can now get. 1.2 million. If you want it on beachfront, you'll pay a premium, but still you can pay that on a deposit, as well. This is our hotel just releasing in Lombok, Hotel K. We started selling this. This will start construction probably in 3 or 4 months. They can build this hotel in 12 months, Wicker. Pre-modular hotel, they build pretty quick. So these are all the sort of facilities. This is on the lake, overlooking the beach. So nice style hotels. All the hotel big chains we're speaking to now will develop their properties for them in the city. But there you have it. So you can get those. I think there's some for 89,000. It says 99 there. You might be able to get some for 89. Might still be left, but still very affordable. Like 5-star finishes though. You can see all the fit outs are, high quality fit outs. Yeah. So you can get that optimum rental market. There is penthouses, also 1-bedroom apartments, 139. These penthouses, only a couple left, from 399,000. Penthouses, ocean views, absolutely stunning. It's insane.
Yeah.
We'll look back in a few years and go, my God. We already do. I was out at my wellness retreat yesterday looking at a Villa sold for 99,000. One of the best views, better than you'll ever get in Ubud. Stunning. Be worth 200K already. And I'm like, God. But I don't mind selling things inexpensively because it helps us launch. That's why we have wholesale pricing. Other developers don't. You'll pay retail. You'll still wait 12 months or longer for your villa. You'll pay retail. That used to irk me. When I come to Bali, if I have to wait off the plan, I want a discount. So that's why I created wholesale buying, because I'm like, I think if people have to wait, but it also enables us, if we do some at wholesale, then we just keep the rest at a higher price. So it's kind of like if you buy the airline tickets first, you get them cheaper. The person sitting next to you booked last minute, they're paying double, but they can hardly bitch and moan that you got, it's just the way it does. So wholesale buys, that's why we also get higher returns, Alex, because if you're wholesale buying and say a $200,000 property you bought for 120, of course your returns are way higher than any other developers are able to get for their clients because you got in a wholesale. And the capital growth is very good. This is one we can also build. This is a pre-modular. This is the cheapest villa we have, the $99,000. Very simple, but once again, they'll rent well or to expats, also to the holiday market. So $99,000 is the cheapest. So I'll just show you some of these. These are the more original ones we've had. Oasis. We just finished 10 of these in Semiac Village. Super popular. Once again, 2 pools. Wow factor Airbnb, 3,000-4,000 a month rental yields you can earn off these ones. Cabo Oasis, super popular. These are all can be built in Lombok. So I'll skip through a couple more and then can answer a few questions, Alex, and kind of wrap up. But you can just see all this. So this is beautiful, very popular Cabo Oasis. Beach Shack, you want something on the beach or not far from the beach. Lotus, built quite a few of these in Semiac. So a lot of these people can come and actually stay in Semiac and get a feel for them, go, I like this one, and they can have it built for them. So Semiac is really becoming like a display village. So there's a $500 accommodation credit. You can use that towards Semiac villas. So you can come and stay, use that $500 credit, have a couple of nights free on us, check out the villas you like, then fly across to Lombok, see the site being built. And we're very transparent. You can come in any time, but as I said, we can do tours. Our staff will show you around. If I'm there, I'll happily show you around the site. So
awesome.
So any questions, Alex? This is the last one I'll show you, Lily. This is super popular. You can get these beachside as well. 3-bedroom, rent very well. We're finishing, half a dozen of these in Semiac as well. Very, very nice properties. Yeah. The stuff that people pay good money to stay, all you can live in. This is starting to live 3-bedroom, 366,000. You can add it. You can make it a 6-bedroom, etc. These 3 of these I'm just building for myself at the moment. Bamboo, all sorts of designs. This one I'm just ordered 2 of these to start in Tabernacle in my wellness retreat. 3-bedroom slide. So these are modeled off ones that have been built in East Bali, 1-bedrooms. 1-bedroom versions of these in East Bali getting $1,200 a night Australian rent. This is a 3-bedder. We expect to get $1,500 a night. Crazy rental returns.
Yeah.
But absolutely stunning. So you can have these in Lombok as well. Just unique, different, Instagrammable people want. Mandela, already got one of these finished. Super popular. This is real life photos of the one finished in Semiac. You can book this now and come and stay in it. We call it the honeymoon type villa. I was going to live in it, but one of my managers has snaffled it for a bit. But you can actually, this is open from November onwards. You can come and stay in this villa. Okay, awesome. That's pretty much all of it, yeah.
Cool. If you want to stop sharing, Jamie, or I'll stop sharing it for you, that's all good. No, I think this is going to be wildly popular. As you say, it's just a no-brainer really at these prices. And for people to get more info, we'll put those links down below where they'll probably end up touching base with Warren or one of your other team to do a bit more due diligence. But as you say, that timeline is pretty incredible, how fast they've already completed those projects that you've nearly sold out now, and this next project, and just those price differences, and all our audience see the way it's going. And I'd just say, when you get these gut feelings and you outlay where it's all heading or whatever, it's the same as when you and I start talking about gold and silver or Bitcoin. When you know in your gut the trajectory of everything, now it's just about executing and building it all out. But it sounds like you've got great builders that are doing it all. So what really are the kind of risks or anything that you see, or have you mainly negotiated most of those now with the government and the legal side of things, or because you've already finished?
Yeah, I think I've been very fortunate. I've been on the ground here for 3 years. I didn't kind of serve my apprenticeship in developing in Bali. It would be much harder. You can't kind of do it not being here. And developing, going through the trials and errors of finding good people and having a good team. So we've got a pretty awesome team now. and it's growing rapidly. Like these are becoming, and building a city is like it's a big project. I'm working a little bit harder than I probably planned to do, but I love it. It's a passion, and it's a way that we can't. It's frustrating, as you know. We know what's going on in the world. We can't control everything, but that's when I come back from CPAC, a bit disillusioned. Seeing that Trump, revolution was not going to happen the way we wanted it. It was a little. I was disappointed, and seeing the likelihood of creating a political revolution in Australia anytime soon is not likely. And I've poured millions of dollars into that and trying to help the country over the last decade. I was like, I've got to focus on what I can control. And that's when I said, if I can build a city as an example that can be emulated around the world, we can change the world one city at a time. We create our own mini governments. We become the council, and we attract and build communities, because people are missing that in the West. They're not part of a community anymore. They don't generally speak to their neighbors, most people. People want to be part of a community. So it's a very social way of living here in Bali. And people talk to each other. You're building amazing community networks, and the quality of people, because you've got the best people leaving from around the world that are smart enough to know what's going on, coming to a new city or coming to new communities. It's something unique and very powerful we're building. So just the networking effect of being part of something with pretty smart, switched on people that are awake, want freedom, like to be healthy and live their best life, and focus on what we can control. As far as the risks, I think if you're educated and you just get comfortable with it, that's why the lombokfreereport.com, we have a heap of videos and stuff there. You can speak to the reps, join our WhatsApp thread so you can watch the progress of all our projects. You just get comfortable with it, or jump on a plane and get over here and check it all out. But I think the risks are greater if we don't get our money out of the West. I think it's extremely risky. I think 2026, Alex, is God knows what's going to happen. But I don't think we can assume you can keep your money safe in Australia for much longer before the banks will just convert it to Reserve Bank digital currency, and you're not going to do anything with it. The Australian government just does not want the money sending billions going to Indonesia. They make Indonesia blacklisted on banking. It's so hard to send money. They're already doing that now because they know people are going to flee. People are going to take billions and trillions out of the Australian economy, and the banks are going to suffer, and the economy is it's going to be a massive brain drain. Indonesia is going to be the beneficiary, and I think Indonesia is going to lead the way, because Bali is probably the number one spot on the world. It's the number one tourist spot. It's got something to offer, but it's overcrowded, and they can't fix the traffic. Like in Canggu right now, it does my head in. So we're going to put big billboards up in Bali on the corners where the traffic's the worst. Sick of traffic, move to Marina Bay City. Half price, zero traffic. But the goal is to ensure that's not an elitist city. I do not want an elitist city. It has to be a freedom city that's affordable. So I will do everything in my endeavors, and we are, to keep it affordable for people, and to build that community of like-minded people. It's pretty exciting, and we've done the hard work now. My only concern is we need to get moving faster, because this trickle is going to turn into a flood next year.
Fantastic. Well, guys, all the links below to get more information. And as Jamie said, if you do go ahead, you get a $5,000 deposit grant and a $500 voucher. So just mention Nuggets News. And Jamie, we'll probably catch up again to talk about geopolitics, but probably semi-regularly to talk about the development of all this as well. And I'm sure I'll spend some time over there too, which will be cool.
Yeah, we'll get you over here and check it all out, and we can do some footage from over here. Yeah, but you certainly do lots of updates, and it's all happening. So, lots of happening in 2026. It's going to be a wild ride.
Awesome, Jamie. Well, great stuff. It's amazing. I mean, who says they're building a city and gets it done so fast? I love it. So great stuff, mate. We'll catch up again soon.
Yeah, take care.
Cheers, guys.